Well, troops of the Nigerian army have declared that they intercepted an international smuggling syndicate transporting a truckload of smuggled ammunition to Anambra State, Nigeria's southeast. Now, the recovered items include 720 packets of Red Star cartridges of 12 caliber, which contained 25 cartridges per packet, totaling 18,000 cartridges. 250 packets of live black cartridges containing 10 packets each and totaling 2,500 cartridges of the same caliber. Now, the troops arrested two suspects who they say are helping in investigations by the military. Now, he gave the suspects names as Eric Sewovo, a Ghanaian national, and Lukman Sani, the truck driver. Information gathered during preliminary investigation revealed that the ammunition, which was surreptitiously concealed in a supposed empty truck, was imported from Mali via Idiroko International Border, where those involved had successfully beaten several other checkpoints en route to their final destination, which is Onitsha in Anambra State, where they intended to deliver the illegal ammunition. All right, so now let me come to my guests, John Akirile and Charles Ideho. Good morning to you, gentlemen.
Good morning to you, my brother.
All right, good to have you. Good to have you with us on the show today. Now, the first question is how is it possible that this truckload, it's not a handbag, it's a truck filled with ammunition, moved from Idiroko all the way to where it was intercepted? How? Sorry, I'm coming to Charles now. Charles, please.
Okay. Well, you must understand that the arms market is a very lucrative trade. Very lucrative, also very dangerous. So, as lucrative as it is, there are the players in that market. They are the high and mighty. They have their tentacles spread across the region. In this case, the West Africa sub-region. They have powerful people that are spread across. And when you also look at it, the phrase that is used in that report, they were able to they didn't beat anybody. They didn't beat anybody cleverly. All they did was to do what they normally do to ensure that plenty of money, plenty of money is given to those who are supposed to receive it, which is what they did. This is what they did. So they didn't beat anything. They didn't beat any century. They didn't beat any checkpoint. They just paid what they're supposed to pay to make those officers, whether custom and all of them, to look the other. That's exactly what they did. All the way from they may have avoided Ghana because Ghana, Nigeria, English speaking, that's Anglophone relationship and all that. But again, what they usually do is that we must look at the way West Africa is constituted. You have the eight French speaking in ECOWAS. You have 5 speaking in ECOWAS, and then you also have the 2 speaking Portuguese. When it has to do with a problem with the Francophone, they all come together against the Anglophone. When you are bringing such thing from Mali, they will definitely avoid Ghana because Ghana and Nigeria have very robust relations. They may have passed through Togo, they may have passed through Benin. So, how is it possible that they beat all these checkpoints in Togo? This is the one in Republic of Benin and found their way to Idiroko. So it tells you that there's also this international conspiracy against Nigeria. All right. So there are high and mighty who are usually part of the game. Some of them within government circles, within like mostly customs and immigration. They just pay them huge amount of money and make them to look the other way around. So it's not as if those people are very smart to beat all these the border patrols. All they do is that the border patrol, most of them are part of the mechanism used to ensure that they all these trade successfully.
All right then. Now, John, Charles did say something. John, are you there?
I can hear you.
Oh, great, great. Well, Charles did say something. He alluded to the fact that there might be an international conspiracy against Nigeria. Do you think so? Or is this perpetrated by Nigerians against Nigerians?
Let me say good morning to all of you all over the world. It takes two to tango. Okay? Even if there is international conspiracy, there is an internal mechanism, there's an internal conspiracy as well. Somebody is giving, somebody is taking. If there's no giver, there's no receiver. But at this time, the receiver can say, I'm not receiving.
Okay.
If this thing can move all the way from Mali.
Well, John, we'd like for you to adjust your camera in such a way so we can actually get your video, get you on video.
Okay.
Yes.
Is it better now?
Well,
no,
they'll let me know. No, it's not.
Just put it on rotation, rotation to look straight.
All right. Thank you very much, Charles.
Yeah.
All right, then go ahead, please.
Okay, better now, yeah.
Okay, so I think for me, thank you, Charles. Thank you, I'm grateful. For me, if there's no giver, there's no receiver. But the receiver can say, I want to stop receiving. Okay? If they can move all the way from Mali, they beat our humongous custom security. I know we will say that our borders are porous, yes. But these people did not fly in. They moved through road. Okay? Now, if our customs are doing that which they need to do, if there's no compromise in this, I don't think they would have made their way. How come they could not go by air? How come it's by land? Now, if air is not penetrable, then land also should be checked. So just like Mr. Charles said, it means that some people have been saboteurs, even within the system.
Okay.
Those who will say will be on night duty, it's just a phone call. So within this hour to give them free passage of way. And that's it. Between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m., just allow these boys to move. And 1 a.m., 3 a.m., they move within that time. And that's why it's not as if they are not invisible people. But for the fact that they can be, checked down somewhere in the country, also shows that response from people who have decided not to be saboteurs. Those people who apprehend the truck can say, okay, just settle us and go your way. It means that even if we have international collaborators who are interested, because if you look at the Southeast, and I'm sure that this must have been tools needed for some of the agitations that will still go up in the Southeast. That's myself a question. How do these young boys know how to handle a rifle? My brother, I passed through NYSC throughout my service here. They didn't teach us how to handle a gun. I can't even handle a pistol. Talk more. How much more? AK-47. How much more locally made gun? But it means that some people are just keen on, destabilizing the Southeast and to continue to make the Southeast look backward because of their own political gains. This has political undertones. This has international fingers all across it. If somebody, so I think what we should do as a country to show to them that we are serious is just like they burnt the vessel. No, burning will not solve it. The point is we should get to the root of the matter.
All right then.
Who hired the truck?
All right then, John.
Where is the point of?
Yeah, well, we do know that the men that were apprehended, we've been told that they are helping with investigation. But my worry in this is that the fact that their names have been made public already. And from their names, whether it's true or not, we know that one is Lukman Sani, the other is a Ghanaian. So their names have been made public already. Now, what do you think this will do to those who they are working in concert with?
I think I think our security officers should know that when people are arrested, it's not the first thing that you should get their names to the public. Why? Because this can even hinder or tamper with your investigations. People who are already part of the syndicate would have been looking at ways of, running to the thin air, either as far as Sudan or any other country where they can disappear to. And that will frustrate their own efforts in terms of getting these people or getting members of the syndicate who have been doing this. Now, let me say to you, this is not the first time that particular truck is coming into Nigeria with loaded weapons. This is not the first time. That same driver, this is not the first time he's driving that truck. That same Ghanaian that are coming in, this is not the first time they are bringing such a deal to Anambra. So it means that it's a regular operation. But this one, probably they didn't get the amount of money they ought to get. Probably, I'm thinking they didn't get the amount of money they ought to get. But I think what we should do in this case is that this set of people, should serve as a guide, in terms of helping them to get to the root of this matter.
All right, then.
So that we can get more syndicates who are involved, then we can stem, because if there's no supply, when there are no bullets, I don't think people shoot people at the market, just like we have in Ebonyi for start home. How do they get their own gun? You are seeing how they get the gun. How do they get the bullets? This is how they get the bullets. But if there's no supply, there's no gun or bullet to shoot. And so these are ways by which we must stem this in the bud.
Let me come to you now, Charles. Now, it's not the first time that the Nigerian security will intercept dangerous consignment of this kind, or even worse. Now, can we be sure that this will be followed through, Charles?
Followed through by who? That's the question. It's a rhetorical question. I like asking rhetorical questions. Because over time, this is not the first time, as you said, you alluded to that. But if you recall, what has happened to similar cases in the past? Did you ever see any of the cases being pursued to a logical conclusion that people have been arrested, those who are placed higher than those who have been arrested? Look, as I said, the international arms trade, the international arms trade is a very powerful. They have a very powerful network. Not only in Nigeria, most of them are in Iraq. Most of them. Let me even quickly say. The government of Putin. I mean, those guys, they are making a lot of kill from here in Africa, in the Congo DR, and wherever you have all this ethnic strife and all that. They are making a lot of money. So these people are so highly placed. Now, John mentioned, when you mentioned about, why did you have to release the names of those who have been arrested? It is part of the game. When you arrest them, you quickly put their name out there in the open. Those who stand there will know, two of your boys have been arrested, these are their names, so please find your way. And I can also tell you, because the way the network is wired, I can assure you that Eric Sewovo and what's his name now, the Lukman Sani may not even know who sent them. So you want those two men to now begin to make the discovery. They will hardly know who sent them, because this thing is the way the network is so efficient. They pass on this to them. They promise you so much money, just deliver it. Nobody. What are you delivering? Maybe it's what you are carrying is cartons of noodles. Take it. Somebody is going to accept it at Badagry. When you go over there, somebody will receive it at my 2. From my 2, they will drive it. That's your work. After you have done that, so money is your back. That's the way it is. And then these customs along the way, all of them is an international trade, and they have a list. All of them, I've always said, jocularly, they're all in the same WhatsApp group, and none of them will give each other out at all. So it is a tight-fitting network of those guys who are very rich. So all these foot soldiers like Sani and Sewovo, they may not know who sent them. All they know is that they were promised some money, which of course may have been paid, and then people were, taught to be who are complicit, just through that way. Let my boys drive through. Don't worry, Oga, I will see you. I mean, as a journalist, I have had cause to go to other West African countries. When you go to even the border between us and the Republic of Benin, the one in Seme border, when they see you, hey, bro, waiting in a car now, it may not write anything, and that's exactly how it has been. So it is what they promise is very huge. that sometimes most of these custom officers can hardly find it resistible. So it's as I said, we may not get to the end of this game, because most of them may also be highly placed in government.
Wow. Well, let's look at the number plates now of the truck. Number plate is ENU 697XY. ENU basically Enugu. Yes. Now, shouldn't they start from there? Who registered it? Under whose name? And as John rightly said, this is not the first time that this truck is probably, plying the roads, transporting things like this. John, now, let me come to you now. How best do you think investigation should start? Shouldn't we start from the registration of the truck?
I think it should start from the registration of the truck. But my concern also is about our data collection mechanism in the country.
Okay.
When was that truck imported? From where? Who was the first buyer of the truck? Who did they sell the truck to as a second buyer? All of these are track records, but I'm sure we don't have those records. I'm certain about it.
I would like to disagree with you, because I believe we do.
It's not a matter of you disagreeing.
No, I believe we do if we want to.
Now this is it. If we have a plate number, why do you think when you drive your car on the road and a policeman is chasing you with bike, why do they chase you when they have the record? Why should they chase your car with bicycle when they have your records with them? Why should they chase you? So it shows to you they don't have the records, and that's why they want to appear you on the highway forcefully. So in a place where there are records, but for me, what is also the assurance that that same plate number is not manufactured by this syndicate themselves?
That's another thing.
So but they know that in terms of data collection, we don't have it. So they can do and undo. They can manufacture plate numbers themselves. You call it ENY. I can say to you now, ENY 2KY JK. That's a plate number. And then you put it on the car and it goes. Nobody will even stop and say, let's check this plate number. Is it authentic plate number? We don't have consistent. We don't have it. Okay? So if you are talking about that particular truck now, tracing that truck might be a very big problem. That's one. Two, the so-called driver might not be the driver that used to drive that truck. It might be the same truck, but different drivers. Okay? Just like Mr. Charles said, it's about order. Get to this point, you are dropping these goods at warehouse A. Just get to warehouse A and drop it there and leave. Somebody has to pick from warehouse A to warehouse Z. Drop and leave. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. So it's a bit complicated. So for us to really combat this kind of menace, this thing is not something that started 2 years ago. I can say to you, this business is older than me.
For a while.
It's older than me. And so for you to clamp down on, because these guys have great-grandfather in the business. They have great-great-grandfather. And they are breeding children as well, even grandsons. So for you to come into that group and say you want to break it, it's difficult. But what we can do as a system is that we should have a strong system that can come against these people. Now, if they can't come in by air, our land borders should, be very, very strict. If they can even get in, let's say our borders are porous, we can't get out of our borders. What about the interstate routes? What about interstate routes? This is where, interstate security connectivity should work in. Lagos is close to Ogun. Can Lagos and Ogun State come together and see how they can, work within themselves? There's a Southwest security architecture. Can they see how they can, mop up things? Even if you come through Ekiti, you come through Kogi, you still get to Ondo State. Is there a way we can look at how these states are linked together and how they can share intelligence? Okay, this person has moved from Owo. Now he's approaching Kogi. He has moved from Owo. He's approaching Benin. He has moved from Auchi. He's approaching Lokoja. Can we see how we can, as government agents, as president, share intelligence? But most importantly, data for us is key. If there's no data, all of these things will be very, very difficult for us to get to the
John, it's difficult to share analog data. When you have analog data, it's difficult to share analog data. It's only when you are high-tech before you can punch a button, those data will show. But let me quickly say this about this issue of number plate. It happened to me in 2006 when I was appointed. I just got not appointed, but I just got elevated to editor of where I was working. I became the editor, and then also a car was attached to me as my official car. So one day I had an assignment somewhere, so I was driving. So the policemen on the this stop and search routine, they stopped me. You know how we are now. We journalists, hey, my friend, why are you stopping me? And I knew I had all the papers in the glove compartment. So I brought them out, with pride, raising up my shoulders. And then they checked and said that the other things were all authentic, except the number plate. The guy looked at this and said this plate number or whatever it was not genuine. And I was raising doors. What do you mean? What do you mean? I'm a journalist. I couldn't. So we did it. They took me to a G. They had to impound the car. The car was an EKY, which is a Etiosa. Okay. I had to put the bill for them to go to Etiosa, to go to their logbook. Behold, that number was not registered. So what happened was that the driver, the guy who became my driver, who was giving the car, when the car was a Tombo car, Volkswagen Jetas at that time. So he just went to a local government somewhere. I mean, a British said, "Hey, okay, come on, all this stuff." They took money from him, asked the guy to remain, and they brought the plate for him, and then they are fixing. And it became very embarrassing. The car was impounded for 2 weeks until it was found not to be genuine. I had to apologize. Then before on my own, I genuinely went to Ifakojayi there to ensure that the number I took was genuine, and that was why I was saved from that. So it's very possible that even this number plate is talking about may not also be in the logbook of the motor what's it called, licensing office. I agree with you. I just wanted to share that. Now
this just brings to fore. This just brings to fore the lackadaisical attitude of government from the top, trickling all the way down, and it's the people that try to cut corners, make things difficult for government to have data. This just brings everything to fore. Now, as we proceed on, yes. You want to say something? Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to say this. The thing is that, whether I like it or not, when a society praises money or glorifies material wealth, people are always sure to cut corners because everything is like Yoruba would say, kilo per day. What is coming in for me? So that after they made this money, to hell with government, what are they talking about? Data will chop. So when you have a society that glorifies material wealth, people will do everything possible to circumvent or sabotage the effort of government. Even those in government over there who are highly placed, are they also above board? No, the answer is no. Because it's a society that is now replete with everybody looking for money, wherever it may be. Just get that money at all costs. Get the money, and then you can front it, and you'll be giving chieftaincy title if you are from any community that was chieftaincy title.
Quite unfortunate. Quite unfortunate. Now, there's a report from 2019. This one was published in one of the dailies. I'm going to take an excerpt from it. Now, it says that Nigeria is troubled by gun violence, a place where too many guns get into wrong hands. Now, this report also has it that the United Nations had raised the alarm that over 350 million or 70% of the 500 million illicit small arms in West Africa were domiciled in Nigeria. This was in 2019. Let me take the figure again. Over 350 million or 70% of the 500 million illicit small arms and light weapons circulating in West Africa were domiciled in Nigeria. Gentlemen, where does this put us? Are we at war? Like, are we really at war? Should we be concerned? John, let me start with you, and then I'll come to Charles.
We should be very, very concerned. We should be very, very concerned. It's a pity that most of the time when you get all these statistics, it's not about good things when you mention Nigeria, and it's a pain in my heart. Imagine about 350 million weapons, 70% is in Nigeria. That will tell you how our political class, have used poverty as a weapon, to even impoverish people more. And how poverty also is a junior sister to crime. Because for you to go into crime, you are easily, sweet talk into crime when you see the bounty offers that comes at the end of it. I'm sure those guys who drove that truck must have been promised millions of naira. And all of his entire life of working, maybe he has not even sent 500,000 cash before. And so when such humongous promises comes, there's a problem somewhere. And I think what we should do is our political class should understand that these figures are not just for headlines, but it's a call for concern. That even in their own bullion vans, in their own, bulletproof cars, they won't be safe. And that's where we are going. And that's why every political class, every political leader must understand that at this point in time, if we don't put this country on the right track, oh my, what is to come will consume everybody. And in that case, it means that out of every 12 Nigerians, 4 of them will have a gun. If you are going by this record, out of every 12, 4, that's it. So the question you should ask yourself is, what are you doing with a gun when you are not a security personnel? You are not a vigilante group member. You are not but like we have in Ikorodu. So what are you doing with a gun? That's the first thing we should ask. That's the first question. How did this gun come into the system? Who shared this gun? And if you look at it, at the end of the day, there's always a connection between these guys and our politicians. So if you look at the last election, who were those who were shooting guns apart from the police? Because even the police themselves do not carry guns to the polling booth. So how come they were bullet shots, gunshots in the air? How come those boys who are not uniformed, who are not recognized security state officials, having guns and bullets? Who gives them the gun and the bullet? Who are they working for? So it shows that our political class also have a hand in this directly. And they cannot be exempted from it. But they should understand that when this thing get out of hand, it will fall on everybody.
All right, and it's interesting that you had to go that way. That made me smile because I just remembered something that happened in some elections back around Oshodi. I was around Oshodi, and it was close to elections. And where I was just talking with someone along the road. A car pulled over, and the street urchins gathered around, and the person that brought the car opened the boot of the car in my presence and started sharing machetes, brand new machetes, to these street urchins. That was done in broad daylight somewhere in Oshodi. Well, so we don't know which ones are done in the dark. They might be sharing bombs and guns and other things. So yes, I totally agree with you.
But you didn't see them sharing shakman. You know what they call shakman?
No, I did not see them do that. So
let me add to what John said.
Go ahead.
His question you asked is
go ahead, please.
If we're concerned, yes, of course, we're concerned. Because let me raise a conspiracy theory here about the number of guns in the hands of Nigerians or in Nigeria. The conspiracy theory has to do with America. That the other day I read that America has about the population of about 200 and something million. Now, out of that population, you have over 300 million light guns, light weapons. Now, and you know that when you are in business to sell, you are in business to make profit. There are companies that are manufacturing these guns, and it costs them so much money, so they want to sell. Now, America, as we speak today, America has more guns than they need. All right. Now, you can't be manufacturing goods and storing in your warehouse, and then you are incurring debt. So what do you need? You need to supply. If you don't have buyers, you won't have sellers. So these light guns that are in the hands, in America has more guns than they need. And then those who are in the trade, in the arms trade, you think they don't want to sell? So they will always be willing, or what they call the fall guys. The fall guy in the international market will always receive those things and take them. Now, they don't care whether there's peace in your country. In fact, If there's no peace in your country, they are happy because their trade will boom. In most cases, some of these armed traders, they move into certain regions and create strife. They just cause strife,
Absolutely.
and then they will arm one group against the other and begin to sell to supply them. You know, so that the more crisis you have, the more their trade will boom. So when you look at it that way, you see that. You know, Nigeria today, we pride ourselves as the biggest market in Africa, which of course is not arguable. We are the biggest market. And then you also find that there are willing people who want to cause strife. Don't also forget the Biafra question. The Biafra question has not been answered since the 1970, when you had the no victor, no vanquish, following when the war ended. So today, the Biafra question, so people are there, are still agitating, and agitation is there on the street. Agitation is there even by force of arm. And then you have these people who are manufacturing guns if they want to sell. Are these people not willing people to sell guns to? That's why I say it's a conspiracy theory.
All right then. Now, the question of the Southeast doesn't look any closer to a solution from where it first started. Charles, now, what are your first thoughts about this?
Well, I think the thing is that in the Southeast, there's something I said already recently, when I'm also going to be repeating here. Those of them who understand Igbo, I think that narrative that worked in the past with the Igbo country is no longer working in today's Nigeria, where they say Igbo, meaning that Igbo doesn't have a king. Okay, so the entire Igbo people, they don't have anything like kingship, where you have to surrender even your support, or you have your business to one man, as it happened in Yoruba. Yoruba, they have leaders. Once upon a time, you had Awolowo here, where everybody deferred to as their own leader. You also had people like Pafaroti, who are still living at Debanjo. You had people, about Desonya. So you have always had people in Yoruba land that they will all look onto as their leaders. When something happened that Sunday Igboho had to come up with certain things, and then you was creating all these things that people didn't like. What did they do? When he even went to Republic of Benin, the Yoruba leaders said they also extended house of house of what they call it, fellowship to their Adesha brothers across the boundary, across the borders, and they quickly rallied around them to ensure that Sunday Igboho was taken out of the system in order to save the Yoruba nation from that embarrassment. Today, where's Sunday Igboho? So that thing is not happening in the Southeast. So the leaders of the Southeast must come together to say, okay, no, let's begin to change narrative of Igbo Mweleze. Igbo must Mweleze. Igbo must have an Eze now, so that all of them can look at, not Iwaya who is speaking from one mouth, on one part of the mouth, what's his name now, Uzokali speaking. Everybody is just looking for how to beat the new Eze. And the Igbo people are not also direct at it, because as I said, Igbo Mweleze, they are not even respecting them. So they must do it to say, let's come together. Who is suffering it? Who is the primary looking for a word now? The primary, who are the people suffering the most? Is the most. Their businesses are shut every Monday. Then even the people who are in Lagos or elsewhere, they have money over. They want to come home to come and spend money in order to reflect the economy of the Igbo land. They can't go home because of insecurity. So the people that first of all tackle the problem are the Igbo people themselves. Even they had to have a conflict. If you call it a conflict, you give any other nomenclature. They must come together under one roof. Whether it's round table, whether it's a square table, they must talk to each other and see how they can resolve the issue before they can extend it to the rest of us at Nigeria. If you don't accept people to come there to dissuade you, nobody can do it. That's why they said it is the internal enemy within that always extend hand to bring in the enemy without to cause trouble in the home. So this question, the Biafra question, the Igbo question, if we want to sort it out, the Igbo people themselves must sit down to also show us the way out of it. All right,
John, you want to chime in on this as well?
Yes, I think we should understand that the leaders are a problem, okay? And when there's no coordinated force, that's what you get. I would have expected that these people, instead of disturbing their own peace, should hold their leaders accountable and ask their leaders specific questions. The Southeast have always been having governors. They have been having House of Rep members. They've been having senators. They've been having local government chairman. Ask the governor of your state, of your region, what is it? Why is it that your region is not developed? And stop, giving problem to your own people. If you think this way you are giving to your own people, will disturb other people in that part of the state, it won't. But rather, you are impoverishing the Igbo people the more. You are destroying the little infrastructure that is not even enough for the Igbo people. You are destroying it the more. And so it means that if you are saying you are fighting for a return of Biafra, what you are doing to the southeast is that you are taking southeast aback, even beyond the era of Biafra. And I think we should stop that narrative. We should work together, and our leaders should be more committed into serving the people rather than serving their own pockets.
All right, then finally, John, now this probably then satisfies the theory of those who believe that the crisis in the southeast is imported after all right? Have we gone from, or are we going from unknown gunmen to unknown sponsors?
Well, I think for me, it's not about unknown gunmen. These guys are known. It's not a matter of unknown gunmen. They just add under the cliche of saying unknown gunmen. They are known. If they are not known, how come that the police were able to, rally around those guys who had the shooting at the Sheke market in Ebonyi? Didn't how many weeks? So it shows that they are known. They have families. They move from one community to another community. They are not imported. They are people. They are local people there. Okay? And they should understand that when you shoot a bullet in the Sheke market, it doesn't touch somebody in Alausa. You should understand that. And if you disturb the Sheke market from opening business that very day, it shows that no economic transaction has happened in Ebonyi for that day. It shows that even the state government as well are losing funds. It shows that your one brother who is having a store at Sheke market will not make a sale that day. And it shows that nobody won't be able to feed his family. So one way or the other, you are crowning the economy of Southeast because there are some other states that do interstate trading between themselves, Ebonyi and Abia and Imo and Anambra. And when these things happen, it inhibits business day to day. Why should we even enforce it at home? On a Monday morning in Yoruba land, it's called Ojo, and that is the most viable day of the week that you must do your business transactions. And in fact, over 80% of transactions are concluded on Monday mornings. And so if that is the day you are doing it at home, it shows that 80% of your transactions that also are bringing revenue for your own people and for your own state, and even give stipends to other people in the economy at lower level, you have disrupted that. And there's nothing left for you in the whole of the week. Check the banks in the southeast. How many of them, what's their turnover when it comes to their weekly earnings? All of these are effect of what they are doing. So if they are thinking that the more they do that, it will help the release of Nnamdi Kanu, far, that is far from it. If they also come from the another angle of saying, let them start, cause unrest in the southeast, they should understand that the unrest in the southeast does not get to Abuja. It does not even affect their own state governor. So if your state governor is still sleeping very well in his house, he's still eating 3 square meals, he's still driving in his car with all his right, then why he being stuck on? For what reason? So I think the leaders who are leaders should also know that they have failed the Southeasterners in many ways, and they should apologize to them and then make several commitments now, a fresh commitment, genuine commitment that truly we want to serve. The likes of Bajis Okado have been in the Senate for only God knows how long, and these are people who have their hands up, so many questions are hanging on their head. But they should be more committed to the Southeasterners now, because there's so many generations that this thing will really affect. And I think at this point in time, everybody should come to the table with clean hands, make amendments, make corrections, and make commitment to make the Southeast a force to reckon with in terms of industrialization. I've always known the Southeasterners to be good business people in terms of industrialization, in terms of bringing business and economy to a good point. And I think I'm looking forward to that point in Nigeria where the Southeast region will boom again. I can't wait for Southeast to boom. So I want this sit at home to be a thing of the past. Then our leaders should be more committed, so the people. And I think from that area, we are good to go. All
right, then. Thank you very much, John. John Akirele. Thank you also, Charles Ideho. But I'm going to keep you, I would like you to stay with me for a little bit longer as we go into another topic. Now, the mobile policemen are being withdrawn from ex-governors, ministers, and VIPs. That's the conversation when we come back after this break.